Hi all, it's the 22nd of October 2022 and Roslyn has undergone its intensification as expected, and it is now a hurricane, and it has formed an eye in the last few hours and may well be Category 3 intensity, or at least a high Category 2. Sentinel-3 satellite passed over Roslyn earlier on 21st of October and caught this really good imagery. The storm is forecast to continue over these very warm waters off the coast of Mexico that are between 28 and 29 Celsius as it moves past this headland and towards the Mexican coast over here. These water temperatures are enough to sustain a Category 5 hurricane under ideal conditions, as shown by the maximum potential intensity index. Let's take a look at the hurricane wharf. This is the 0 UTC October 22nd initialization at around Category 1 or Category 2 intensity they initialize the storm at. It intensifies quite rapidly to become a major hurricane. Winds are sustained in the model at over 100 knots by 12 UTC October 22nd, that's today. And the storm maintains what looks like Category 3 intensity in the model as it rounds the headland of Mexico there and passes between the Isla Maria and towards the Mexican coast. This run is significantly further to the south than the one from in our previous video, and you can see then that hurricane force winds would be impacting this area of the coast, and that is 12 UTC October 23rd. Mexican time is UTC -5, so that would be early morning on Sunday. This fits very closely with the National Hurricane Center forecast, unsurprisingly really at this point, as the storm comes in and just tucks around that peninsula, comes into this coast. They've got a hurricane warning up for this whole area, and the timing is Sunday morning. As you can see here, they've labeled it on. The other forecast models are in pretty tight agreement on the tracks at this point. You can see they're very closely packed and coming around with a landfall over in this area of the Mexican coast. What have we got in here? That's a river. And so looking at hurricane impacts, because the storm is passing so close to the Aguila Sedan, that hurricane conditions are possible along this coastline, Puerto Vallarta and San Blas, and all in this area. So the take-home message here is that Roslyn is expected to be near or at major hurricane intensity as it rounds that headland of Mexico and makes landfall on the west central coast of Mexico on late Saturday into Sunday. We're expecting strong winds, a dangerous storm surge, and so the National Hurricane Center have issued this hurricane warning along the coast. Please stay safe, and there's also a high chance of heavy rainfall leading to flash flooding and possible landslides in that complicated Mexican terrain along the coast. The latest discussion has just come in from the National Hurricane Center, and they have, as expected, upped the intensity to Category 3 intensity at 105 knots sustained. Continued intensification in the forecast to 120 knots in 12 hours. That would make it a Category 4 hurricane, and then slight weakening to Category 3. So we're looking at a major hurricane intensity storm moving around that Mexican headland and heading towards landfall, with weakening at or during landfall. So stay safe everyone, see you in the next one.